This happened to me recently. You see, I'm a paramedic. I work on emergency calls. That Sunday, around 11 at night, I started to feel something strange, a kind of chill, a very intense and inexplicable anxiety, for no apparent reason. I'm not someone who prays often, but suddenly I felt an overwhelming need to do so. At that moment, I was checking the inventory inside the ambulance, making sure we had everything we needed, replenishing what was missing. That's when the chills intensified. They became almost unbearable. Later, it was time to see who would cover the night shift, from midnight to 6 in the morning. 2 co-workers and I were unlucky enough to be left behind. And I say unlucky because of what I was about to experience, something that still makes me tremble just thinking about it. At approximately 2:20 a.m., the radio operator notified us of an accident. There was a person lying on the road, apparently wounded by a gunshot. We responded immediately, and yes, there was a person on the ground, but the wounds did not appear to be from a gunshot, nor did they appear to be stab wounds. The wounds were, how can I explain it? They looked like bite marks. It looked as if the person had been attacked by an animal, a dog, or something else. There was even torn skin. The most disturbing thing was that there was no massive bleeding. Suddenly, we heard him try to say something. The person was still alive. It was huge, they said. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't defend myself. We lifted them into the ambulance to transport them, and with every question we asked, they repeated the same thing over and over again. That it was something huge, and that they couldn't do anything to protect themselves. We checked his vital signs. That's when the patient went into cardiac arrest. As I was about to begin chest compressions, the person grabbed my arm. That should have been impossible. And then he said something else. It's back. Suddenly the ambulance shut down. The interior lights went out. Everything went dark. Terrified by the situation and by everything I had been feeling all night, I finally started to pray. But something strange happened. Something that I think happens to people at times like that. I forgot how to do it. I tried to think of the Lord's Prayer, but I couldn't recite it. I couldn't remember the words. The ambulance began to shake violently. That man, who, according to his vital signs, was dead, squeezed my hand. I don't know if what I heard was real or just my imagination, but I clearly heard his voice say, "Don't let him attack me again." I didn't know whether to respond. I no longer knew what was real. I didn't even know if I was alive. I closed my eyes. Then my partner screamed. He screamed in pure terror. And then from far away, we heard a baby crying. Incredible as it may seem, it was faint, barely perceptible. But that sound seemed to calm everything down. The lights came back on. My partner was drenched in sweat, and the patient now had something he didn't have before. His face was completely scratched, not slightly, but brutally. One of his eyes was almost popping out of its socket, as if something had tried to rip it out. His vital signs returned. We drove as fast as the ambulance could go. When we arrived at the hospital, they refused to take him in. They said the authorities had to arrive first before admitting the patient, because it looked like he had been involved in a violent altercation. We insisted, because of how critical his condition was. Finally, they admitted him. While we waited for the authorities, they wouldn't let us leave. We had to give our version of events, and we told them everything. There was nothing else to do but tell the truth. We gave all the details, as incredible as it seemed. I don't know if they believed us, but the person who took our statement said they had never heard anything like it, and even less so from paramedics. I don't know if they believed us. I don't know if you, who are listening to this, will believe me. But I promise you one thing. What we experienced that Sunday night was real. Translated with deepl.com, free version. This happened to me not long ago, and I swear on my mother's life that what I experienced was real. It was 2013. I was just a kid, in 5th grade at a private school near Azcapotzalco in Mexico City. I was never a lonely person. I had no problems with my parents. I was a normal kid. I liked soccer and video games. My torment began as follows. One afternoon, after school, my mother remembered that she had forgotten some things on her shopping list, so we went to the nearest market in our neighborhood. While my mom was buying vegetables, something caught my attention. A stall that smelled very strongly of herbs and incense. I approached it. On the other side of the counter was a man who looked literally like the wizards in animated movies. Long hair, dirty nails, old overalls. Curiously, he didn't give off bad vibes. I started asking him what all those things he had at his stall were. After about 5 minutes of talking to him, I felt something strange, as if someone were watching me from the side. I turned around. There it was, a small necklace with a leprechaun. I asked the man what it was. He told me it was for good luck, that it was used to ask for money if you wanted it. I was excited, like any child would be. I asked my mom to buy it for me. She didn't see anything wrong with it, and we ended up buying two. They weren't like the other trolls or goblins at the stall that looked strange. These looked like cartoon goblins, but they had something peculiar, a small colored stone on their chest. After paying, the man told me what I had to do for the little elf to help me. He explained that every night I had to rub the stone and ask him for a favor. What he didn't count on was that I was a child with zero responsibility. Within a week, I lost both necklaces, and I forgot completely about their existence. A month after losing them, I experienced something that I still remember with great fear. I was getting ready for bed. I always slept facing the ceiling. My bed had a shelf above it, like a bunk bed. Suddenly, I saw something small and black peeking out from above. It only showed itself for a second, and then hid again. I wasn't scared at first. I thought something was out of place, but 5, maybe 10 seconds later, I couldn't move anymore. I heard little laughs, and I saw little black things moving near my face. I stayed like that for about 30 seconds. I didn't understand what was happening or why, but the fear was terrible. The following week, it happened again. Since then, I started sleeping covered up to my head, leaving only enough space to breathe. I told my mom, but she didn't believe me. Another month passed. The September 15th holidays were approaching. I had lost some of my fear, although at night I still heard little footsteps, as if someone were throwing marbles, and laughter. Laughter that was high-pitched, shrill when I was alone. And then, the worst night of my life happened. That night I decided to uncover myself. I thought those things were gone. By then, I already knew what they were. I had researched it on the internet. Everything matched. They were goblins. I was uncovered, looking at the wall, with my eyes closed, when I heard clearly little footsteps coming down the headboard of the bed. I froze. I felt something rest on my pillow. And then, a giggle. Horrible, terribly horrible. I cried. I cried without turning around, without daring to move. And so, I fell asleep. One Saturday, my mom took my older brother to have a cleansing done. I stayed in the car. When they came out, I asked him why they had gone. He told me that for 2 months, the dead had been coming to him, that he heard laughter, that they even tickled him at night. At that moment, I understood. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the only one. Then they took me. When I entered the woman's house, she stared at me in a horrible way, as if she knew that everything was my fault. After the cleansing, everything began to calm down. Nothing else happened. Although sometimes, when I go to the same market, I see that stall in the distance, the witch doctor, and I'm sure he's still selling those creatures. In my house, from time to time, you can still hear giggles, but now only near the patio. They don't come in anymore. Nothing else happens to me anymore. Thank you for listening to me, and above all, if anyone does, thank you for believing me. I remember when I was a child. I was about 8 years old. I lived with my little brother, who was 2 years younger than me. You've probably noticed that I hardly ever talk about him, and it's not easy to do so because of what you're about to hear. My brother and I had our mother and my dad, my old man. We were very poor, so poor that sometimes we didn't even have anything to eat. I remember my father working every day in the fields to bring home something, anything, and we would see how to make it last. Many times my dad and my mom didn't eat. Those were terrible times. Really terrible. But as a child, you don't see it that way. You understand that when you grow up. Despite all the hardships, I was happy with my brother. Like any child, I didn't see beyond what was really happening. I just wanted to play. Everything got worse when my dad fell ill. Something stung him while he was working in the fields. Later, we found out it was a scorpion. My little dad died. From those days, I remember my mother crying every night. It made me very sad, but what could I do at only 8 years old? The situation got even worse. Even harder days came our way. But my mom, being the strong woman she always was, started looking for work. One job after another, and another, until she found one as a weaver. The problem was that it was very far away. There was no other choice. She left very early, and came back very late. We hardly ever saw her. When she left, we were still asleep. When she came back, we were already in bed. It was then that she told me that I had to take care of my brother, that now I was the man of the house. A few months went by like this, until that damn day came. My brother couldn't sleep. In his sleep, he told me that my dad was talking to him, that he could hear him outside, calling him. I knew that was impossible. I thought that he just couldn't come to terms with his departure. I decided to ignore it. I was falling asleep when I heard the door of our little house slamming loudly, so loudly that it seemed like someone was trying to break it down. I got up. My brother was no longer with me. I went outside as fast as I could, fearful. I went out to look for him. I saw him. He was on his way to the forest along a path near the house. I ran after him. I entered the forest, but I couldn't find him. I searched and searched and searched until I heard it too, my old man's voice, but it sounded different, strange, very deep. I started to follow that voice. I was no longer looking for my brother. I was looking for my dad, until I saw who was making that voice. It was a woman, just her silhouette, completely dark. I couldn't make out her face. My little brother was there next to her. He looked hypnotized. I yelled at him. He turned to look at me. I remember everything, and you don't know how painful it is for me to do so. It was all my fault. The woman took my little brother and dragged him into the darkness. My brother screamed for me to help him, but I hid. I was so scared, very much. I was only 8 years old. I couldn't defend him. I couldn't do anything. It hurts me to think that he believed I abandoned him because I was his brother. I should have taken care of him, but at the same time, I was just a child. I have lived my whole life with that guilt, with the guilt of my cowardice. I will always carry my little brother in my heart, and I hope that someday he can forgive me. That night when I returned home, my mother was there, desperate. When she saw we were gone, she had worried. When she saw me, I burst into tears. I had to confess everything that had happened. I remember how she cried, how her tears wouldn't stop. After a few days, we left that house and moved in with a cousin. Despite the pain, we moved on. Sometime later, my mom confessed to me that my brother had been taken away by a witch. This is the story of my grandfather. He lived in Chiapas, in a humble little house. He took care of his pigs. He had 5. Every time we went to visit him, he would tell us stories, but none as painful as this one.